My name is Levi. I grew up in a place people never looked at twice. An old neighborhood on the edge of an American city, where buildings leaned with age and streetlights flickered like they were tired of trying. Our apartment was small, 2 rooms, thin walls, and a ceiling that leaked whenever it rained. But to me, it was home because my mother was there. My father wasn't. I don't remember the day he left. I don't even remember his face. All I remember is the empty space he left behind, like a chair no one ever sat on again. Sometimes people ask my mother about him. She never explained. She only said, "Some people don't know how to stay." She stayed. She worked harder than anyone I knew. Morning shifts, night shifts, weekends, jobs that broke her body little by little. Cleaning offices, serving food, lifting boxes heavier than her own pain. When she came home, her hands were rough and cracked, but when she touched my hair, it felt gentle, like love could erase exhaustion. "Levi," she would say quietly, "don't be ashamed of where you come from." I tried not to be. Being poor teaches you silence. At school, I learned to sit in the back and keep my head down. My clothes were old. My shoes were worn thin. Other kids noticed everything. They laughed when my shoes had holes. They whispered when my lunch was small or missing. Sometimes I laughed with them, pretending it didn't hurt. But every laugh stayed inside me, stacking one on top of another, heavy and sharp. Books became my escape. When I read, I wasn't poor. I wasn't invisible. I could be someone else, someone strong, someone important. I dreamed quietly, never saying my dreams out loud, afraid the world would laugh at those too. At night, I listened to my mother breathe as she slept. Soft, tired breaths. I was afraid that if I stopped listening, something bad would happen. We never had enough, but my mother tried to make life feel normal. On Sundays, when she didn't work, she sat by the window with a cup of cheap coffee, sunlight touching her face. In those moments, she looked peaceful, almost happy. "You'll have a better life," she told me once. "You won't struggle like this forever." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But life doesn't wait for belief. When I was 15, my mother started coughing at night. At first, she said it was nothing. Just tiredness. Just stress. She kept working anyway. She always did. Pain was something she learned to ignore. But the cough grew worse. Her body grew thinner. Her smile faded little by little. "Please go to the doctor," I begged her one night. She shook her head. "We can't afford that, Levi." One evening, I came home and found her sitting at the kitchen table, holding her chest, trying to breathe. Her eyes met mine, filled with fear she had hidden for too long. That night, everything changed. The hospital was bright and cold. The smell of disinfectant filled the air. I sat alone on a plastic chair, my hands shaking, watching doctors move quickly, speaking in quiet voices. Hours passed. Then a doctor came and sat beside me. His face told me the truth before his words did. "She didn't make it," he said softly. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, staring at the floor, feeling something inside me disappear forever. After the funeral, the world felt empty. People came and went. They said kind words. They hugged me. Then they left. Silence stayed. I was 15 years old. No parents. No home that felt like mine. Just memories and a pain too big for my chest. That was the moment my childhood ended. And that was the beginning of something much harder. After my mother died, the world didn't become louder. It became silent. The kind of silence that follows you everywhere. The kind that sits beside you on the bus, lies next to you at night, and waits for you when everyone else leaves. Relatives took me in, but I could feel it immediately. I was not home. I was a responsibility, a reminder of something uncomfortable. They fed me, gave me a place to sleep, but love has a way of showing when it's missing. I learned how to take up less space. I spoke only when spoken to. I thanked people even when my chest felt empty. School felt pointless without my mother. Every classroom reminded me of why I tried so hard before, to give her a better life. Now she was gone. The reason was gone. I dropped out. Work became my only option. I lied about my age. I worked anywhere that didn't ask too many questions. Warehouses, construction sites, gas stations, jobs where pain was normal and exhaustion was expected. My hands grew rough. My back hurt before I was grown. Some nights I came home so tired I slept in my clothes. Some nights I slept hungry. I learned how to survive, but not how to live. There were nights I stood outside, staring at the dark sky, wondering what the point was. Wondering how long a person could keep going before something inside them finally gave up. What stopped me wasn't hope. It was my mother's voice in my head. Don't let this life make you small. Loneliness followed me everywhere. I avoided people, avoided friendships, avoided love. I didn't trust anything that felt good, because everything good in my life had disappeared once before. I believed pain was permanent. Then one night, everything shifted quietly, the way all real changes do. I was working late at a warehouse when an older man noticed me. His name was Thomas. He watched how I stayed after others left, how I fixed things without being asked. "You work like you're running from something," he said. I didn't answer, but he kept talking to me, teaching me small things, showing me how to think ahead, not just survive the day. One night, he said, "Hard work without direction is just suffering." That sentence changed me. For the first time since my mother died, I saw a path, not easy, not fast, but possible. I studied at night after long shifts. My eyes burned. My body ached. I failed exams and felt stupid all over again. But I remember the laughter at school, the hunger, the hospital hallway, and I studied harder. When I finally earned my GED, I held the paper in my hands and cried. Not because it was impressive, but because it proved I wasn't finished. My 20s were cruel. I trusted the wrong people. I worked for promises that were never kept. I saved money and lost it all in one bad decision. There was a night I sat alone on the floor of my empty room, laughing softly because crying hurt too much. "I'm tired," I whispered. "I'm so tired." But I didn't quit. Pain had already taken too much from me. I refused to let it take my future too. Success didn't arrive suddenly. It came slowly, quietly, through discipline, failure, and patience. A better job, a small opportunity, a risk that finally worked. I started something of my own, not big, not flashy, just enough. Enough to breathe, enough to sleep peacefully, enough to eat without counting coins. The first night I locked the door of my own place, I sat on the floor and stayed silent for a long time. That silence felt different. It felt safe. By my early 30s, people started calling me successful. They saw stability, confidence, control. They didn't see the boy who cried himself to sleep. They didn't see the hunger. They didn't see the nights I almost disappeared. Success didn't erase my past. It stood on top of it. I help people now when I can. I notice the quiet ones, the ones who work too hard, the ones who don't complain. I see myself in them. At night, when the world slows down, I still talk to my mother in my thoughts. I tell her about my days, my struggles, my small victories. I made it, I whisper, and in my heart, I hear her voice, soft and certain. I knew you would. The sadness never fully leaves, but neither does the strength. Because once you grow up poor, once you lose everything and keep going anyway, that child stays with you forever, inside your silence, inside your success, inside your soul. And that is how I survived. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.